What you say? You get what? Hey, yeah. I really appreciate in the last, on the 29th of this month, maybe 4 years since my first heart attack, eh?
20 what?
The 29th.
No, man.
Sorry, the 27th. I had my heart attack on the 29th I came home.
Yeah, the 27th was the day after my first birthday.
Gosh, well. Them 2 birthdays you have to give a man a heart attack, you know. Them 2 birthdays you have to give a man a heart attack.
And it was my first birthday. And Lyndon and Kim that evening bring home a set of dal and rice and curry chicken and thing. And you eat your belly full. You eat more than you normally just eat, you Nancy? And the next morning, boy, I remember when we woke up. Now, normally, you and the man will make the coffee.
Yeah.
And I will do whatever sandwich, eggs or
all right.
Eggs or sardine or tuna or whatever. But this morning now, we get up maybe about 7. And it's 4 years ago, yeah? Just before 4 years.
Yeah.
And you get up. And I finished do my tuna. And you still turning around. Kind of, like you're not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like the brain wasn't computing correct, boy. So I say, Lance, you want some help? You want some help with that coffee or what? You say yes. And I made the coffee and we sat down. But I noticed you were a little like the elevator wasn't reaching up to the top floor. You know? And I am like, what's going on? Lance, not in control this morning at all. You know? Anyway, but we talked and had breakfast, comfortable. And then you went inside.
Rubbish?
You went inside. And I was on the phone. And I am giving Alana the joke about what I dreamed. I dreamt her mother. And the Sylvie in the dream was so real. We went somewhere and we waited to eat. And Sylvie just appeared from nowhere. But I know she was dead. And said, man, let me get a table for you all. And she jumped onto a table that had nobody sitting. So she will secure the seats first. And then she jumped on the table, fall and mash up. And Sylvie just disappeared. And I thought, well, this is a hilarious dream. So I am telling Lana about this dream. And you came inside and you say, I'm not feeling well, you know. I'm not feeling well. And I said, what happened to you? You say, you feel upset. You want to vomit. So you went, you must have vomited while I was talking on the phone. And you went back to vomit. And then when I felt you were so cold and pale, and I said, gosh, Nancy, I think you're getting a heart attack, you know. But no pain.
No, but I was feeling this massive rock in my chest.
Yeah.
It was, you know, like it had just expanded, and I couldn't find room for air.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you were telling me now.
So then I called Lisa. And you say, don't call Lisa. What you calling Lisa for? What you calling Lisa for? I said, Lance, listen to me. You just lie down in that bed, and then he took to me. I said, I feel you having a heart attack. And to tell you the truth, Lisa have experience. Her husband had a heart attack, so she would know better than I do. So when I called Lisa, Lisa said, Mommy, pack a bag for Daddy. We have to be taking him to the nursing home. So I there, between watching you lying down on the bed and kind of, trying to comfort you at the same time, and you saying you're not going nowhere, it's just a gas pain. Lisa come, Mommy, you pack Daddy bag. I said, no. I started crying. She said, no, it's not the time for crying. We need to get Daddy to the hospital immediately. This is a heart attack Daddy having. Well, boy, I walk around like that was the hardest bag for me to pack. Although I knew where your clothes, the stuff you needed, I knew where they were, yet I didn't know how to get myself together. Anyway, with Lisa's strong hand, I was able to pull myself together and, get you to the hospital. And when we got to the hospital, well, we were wondering if we should go, which hospital we should go. And then Lisa talked about a heart specialist she knew, but he operates out of Medical Associates. So we went down there, and they were very efficient. Get a wheelchair by the time we get there and wheel you in, start to take ECG. But from the time I watching a lady face when the ECG going through it, and I say, boy, it's not looking so good at all.
I said, Auntie going home, boy. Auntie going to the great beyond.
The lady expression is like, is a tsunami taking place in this man's chest, yes? Anyway, she showed it to somebody and we had to do it over. I watching she again, I said, oh, watch now, it's a serious heart attack there. They're giving me a serious one here too.
And he talk louder now. Talk as if you're home.
I thought you telling me I'm talking too loud, I didn't know what you're saying.
Talk as if you're home. And
so, with that, the doctor come in and he said, we have to do the surgery immediately. I said, well, the hospital is telling me that, we have to find this money before anything can be done. She said, no, this is an emergency. We will talk about money afterwards. Big up to Dr. Sicharan. Dr. Sicharan was one man, was willing to go in there, although we didn't have the money paid in yet. Big up to Dr. Sicharan.
Navin Sicharan.
Working out of Medical Associates. But one thing I must say, Dr. Sicharan did not give me any false hope. Dr. Sicharan said, it's an emergency. We have to go in right away. Get the money afterwards. We wheeling him in now. And with that, they took him in. That could have been less than an hour after we got here. And
which incidentally, when you get in a heart attack, it is said, right? You have a safe window perhaps in 4 to 5 hours.
Right.
After that, it is really touch and go.
Yeah, well, you were pretty safe, eh?
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, man. But then when he came, after he was finished the procedure, he said that you are not yet out of the woods. But pray, everything is in the Lord's hand. So they allowed me to come into ICU, and I said to you, the doctor said, you're not out of the woods because I can't hold this by myself. I can't keep this story by myself at all. You say, what? I'm not out of the woods? You say, I told you over. I said, no, boy, you're not out of the woods. The doctor said that. Well, boy, anyway, the story goes on. Anyway, you were out of the woods and you had to spend another night in the nursing home. And I tell you,
These are finished?
No, Daddy, like just one set. Remember, it's 7 sets of different tablets.
Girl Louise,
and now start the journey, man.
Let me interrupt your story a bit. Bread coming, bread on the move. Bread on the move. Hold on a bit. Yeah. What I was saying, right? I cannot do, stupidly, I cannot do what Louise has been doing for me almost 4 years now. She has this little pill box, and I have about 7 tablets that I need to take, right?
Yeah, and some of them have to be cut in quarters.
Some have to be cut in quarters, and you should see her in the very beginning using this knife before she got a pill cutter.
Well, this is the best. Well, actually, this is the second pill cutter I got when I went to Florida a month ago.
So,
But the one before, it lasted almost 4 years. My niece sent it for me from the States because the most nerve-wracking part of your illness was when I had to organize these pills together.
right.
Until I didn't feel comfortable until I knew all by name, which took about 3 weeks.
You know, and I still cannot identify, and that's a real sad blow for me, that I feel very embarrassed to even admit this, but I cannot even identify my tablets except maybe an aspirin and maybe the statin. Other than that, I can't identify it, and I don't know if there's a blockage somewhere towards this whole episode of a heart attack. But this little session here, is my tribute to Louise and the care she has taken of me. You know, I used to think that when I got married and when I met Louise and we were getting married, I used to think, Louise, honestly, that I will be the one looking after you. When we went for a walk, you were the one trying to catch up with me.
Yeah.
Now you're taking great care of me, and you are walking ahead of me. In fact, I'm not walking at all. So this is really a tribute to you as a spouse who is devoted, to a husband. I'm really, while I feel, I'm not depressed. Mind you, I'm not depressed. But while I feel inadequate, maybe that's the word, inadequate, I am in absolute admiration of your devotion.
Thank you, darling.
Which
Yes.
one of them? You know all of them by name, right?
Yes. This is the one I'm cutting.
I don't even know them by taste.
Well, another thing I would like to say, that it's one thing putting the medication together. This is no complaint. Putting the medication is quite a chore that I have to do twice a month.
But,
Because you have 2 weeks supply when I organize it.
but,
So it has become a part of a ritual now that every 2 weeks I have to organize the medication. And really and truly, I must say that I'm a pro now. The only adjustment comes when he goes back after 6 months and the doctor decides he's going to take away this medication and he's going to add 2 more or vice versa. And that sometimes I feel unsettled until I'm familiar with the name of these new tablets. Because I always feel that if someone asks what medication Lance is on, I feel I'm supposed to at least call out 5 names, if not out of the 7. I need to be able to be in control of what I am doing and knowing the names of medication. This is a brand new exercise in the last 4 years, because before we just take vitamins. There was no tablet we had to take really as a routine except your vitamins. So if you didn't take it, no big deal. But here it is now. Every 2 weeks you have to organize 2 2-week supply of medication, and we're not talking 1 or 2 tablets. We're talking, at first with the heart attack, it was twice a day, morning and evening. Breakfast time and dinner time. But then you had to organize that every week, because then he was taking twice as much. So, as I was saying, but
the hardest part is for me to take my medication.
To cooperate.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
So, although it is organized, nicely organized in a 2-week supply, the dates are written, well, we had this since 4 years now. So the days of the week are kind of fading. So I could excuse him, although I told him Lance starts with Sunday and it ends on a Saturday.
Yeah,
so
I can't figure out when a Sunday is. I can't figure out where a Sunday has disappeared to.
Right. And when Lance decided to outsmart me, or not take the medication, he didn't take it Tuesday, Wednesday, he going to take Tuesday, but he didn't take. So at no time I could tell what days he didn't take his tablets.
Now, Cicharan would be very, very upset to hear that. He would be very upset to hear that I am such a dunce.
So that is a challenge. And, I'm glad that Lance has kind of brought this up, because that's another challenge in life for us who are growing older. It's wonderful. 30 years of marriage, 52 years of marriage, 30 years of marriage. Life is no change to when you first marry, because marriage going good. So there's no adjustments, there are no complications. Life is just routine, you know what I mean? But honestly speaking, I would really like to share with some of you that when we hit our 70s, is a new ball game. Because as Lance hit 70 in June, in August he got his heart attack.
Yeah, boy.
And I'm not complaining, but there have been changes in life. That, you know what I mean? You have to at times remind, Lance, did you take your medicine today? No. Tomorrow. Lancey took your medication. I don't want any medicine today. The third day, the next day, Lancey, what about your medication? I said up for that, yes, I think I'm taking no more medication. And you, as a wife or as a husband who's taking care of someone who is not well, you may say, oh, the person is a big adult, and if that is how you want to operate, that's your business. But for me, it's a responsibility of a partner. And particularly I am rigid this way because a cousin of Lance's, her husband died 4 years after he had the same procedure. And he died, I think, during the period that Lance had just had his surgery. And when I spoke to her, I said, how come he died? I mean, we all know that we all have to die, but he had his procedure. How come he died? And she said he was not cooperating to take his medication. So you see the challenge that as a wife or as a husband, having a partner, and I could understand and do sympathize. It's not easy every day to pop tablets. And these tablets that Lance has been on had a whole lot of side effects. Lancey, do you remember some of the side effects you had of those tablets?
Well, boy.
And so side effects, he probably didn't feel sick while he take the medication. But after, he will have side effects. He would not be able to walk, he would be very on his feet, he was very dizzy, he couldn't exercise, he couldn't walk. But of course, that did not stop us from having a good relationship. I never felt that, well, no, this man is a half of a man, or a quarter man, or a man equal man. No. You know, in your marriage vows, it says for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. And when sickness comes, you really could be swept off your feet if you are not committed to the relationship. And, you know, being a naga for someone to take their medication, I don't like it sometimes. I don't like the idea that I have to be like a schoolmaster with a rod on your back to take your medication. That's no good either. To be too angry, quarrelsome about it. But you have to know how to deal with it. You have to know when to push. You have to know when to back off. You have to know when to go low, when to demand. It's quite a challenge. But as I say, if we could just be gentle nevertheless and be encouraging and reminding the person why they're supposed to take their medication, it's as good to help. Rather than quarrel and say, sometimes I quarrel and I say, gosh, Nancy, how many times I have to talk to your boy?
Sorry about all this. Sorry about all those.
How many times
I gave her a real rough time. I gave her a rough time.
Sit you down to tell you have to take your medication.
Yeah.
You know? But we really need to
and that must be a male-resistant attitude, eh?
Yeah, well, most men.
Most men. But I want to tell you, as you were talking about medicine and the usage and the side effects, when I came home, as the days progressed, I got this little book here, you know, marked notebook, and I went into Google to see all these side effects. But my doctor said to me later on, you have to ignore the side effects. You have to ignore the side effects if you want to live. And as Louise pointed out, my niece's husband, right? My niece's husband.
All right, yeah.
He died within 4 years, and it was said that he ignored the medication. So here I am now with my pen and paper, and the first one I have is aspirin. The use for pain, fever, inflammation, gastrointestinal ulcerations, side effects. And there was one called aldactone, which removes excess fluid from the kidney. Side effects, vomited, diarrhea. Brilinta, which I am still on, prevents blood clots, stroke, eventual death. Side effects, bleeding, short breath. Thank God I have never experienced that.
You were good with Brilinta.
I was on to Coreg. That's treating heart failure, hypertension, side effects, dizziness, slow heartbeats, and the list continued. It became, you know, a kind of tug of war between taking the tablet, don't take the tablet. Take the tablet, don't take the tablet.
Do take the tablet, Nick.
What's that?
Do take the tablet, Nick. So
eventually I had this list and I got really tired and I said, okay. And you know what the next thing too? I was supposed to have grilled food. Well, I want to say that the first Sunday after coming out, Lasana and Melissa came down here and they did some grilled fish for me, is it?
Yeah, grilled cabbage.
Grilled cabbage, everything. It tasted very good. But soon after, when I got the medication on the Monday, right, following that grilled meal, something went wrong. Something went drastically wrong within me. And up to this day, I can't figure out why I lost 30 pounds in 6 weeks. I can't figure it out. I don't know why. But to come back on track, this is really about Louise's persistence in taking care of me. I was kind of looking over some of the things. One of the aftercares for a heart attack patient, it says that the person who is taking care must stay positive and upbeat. And this girl here, in sickness in health, she's a positive girl. I call you a girl, eh?
Yes, that's fine.
She's a positive and upbeat person. But this is, allow your loved one to talk about their fears and worries. Did you do that? Did you allow me to talk about my fears and my worries?
You mean you?
Whatever.
If I allow you?
During that period of recovery, the early recovery.
Yes, but I don't know if you ever talk much about it.
No, I guess, one lapses into...
Not because I didn't want you to talk about it, but because, you... I suppose it's a man thing.
I don't know, but Louis, look, we have some visitors right now. I'll just turn this here. Can you see those pigeons there? Mr. Lasana feeds them. And now they're kind of perched, waiting for some bread on the lawn. But we are a little worried that they might take residence here, and that'll be a form of worry that we really can't endure too much. But anyway, the problem.
Next thing I might have to be giving them medication.
Yeah. Some guys, you can take my medication if you get a heart attack. So, they say rest is important, but also for you to participate in recreation and social events and to begin making physical activity a part of your daily life. That's for the heart recovery period, Rest is important, and when people used to come home in the early days to see me, there might have been a reluctance to let people see me, but I said, no, let anyone who comes home walk right into my bedroom. I want to see people. I want to interact with people. And that really helped me.
Yeah.
And then they said a return to all your normal activities, including work, may take a few weeks to 2 or 3 months. A full recovery is defined as a return to normal activities. I could say that there are some normal activities that I have really, returned to. Not perhaps in full flight, but definitely I returned to some normal activities despite some back problem. With full recovery, many people, they say, live a long life after a heart attack. But be aware of your risk. 1 in 5 people aged 45 or above in the United States have had a second heart attack in 5 years. Prevention efforts are crucial for lowering that risk. There's always the need to be aware that you are still at risk of a heart attack. I met a man on Saturday and we were going to get doubles. I try not to eat too many doubles, but doubles is such a beautiful, tasty delicacy that we have over here that I said to him, he called out to me and I said, so you're here for doubles? And he said, no, I now have to watch the oil. So here's a man perhaps who have had maybe he has had a budding problem, but he's wise to watch the oil. And there are a lot of little things that I still... One thing the doctor said, he said you can cheat, but you can't cheat all the time. You can't cheat every day. And the tendency is to let this appetite of ours cause us to cheat every day.
Mm-hmm.
So folks, if you hear that I have passed away, it means they say I cheated too much. I have been a notorious cheat. But I'm going to try. So what does a heart attack do? A heart attack, let me see if I can get my notes together. A heart attack can be brought on by stress. Stress will lead to a high blood pressure, which can pose a risk for another heart attack and a stroke. Now, Louise was saying to me not too long ago that maybe a stroke is far worse than a heart attack.
Yeah, I feel that way.
Why do you think that a stroke is worse than a heart attack?
Well, for one, most people who got a really bad stroke, they end up in bed. You know? And when a patient is in bed, their care, once they are mobile, what's the word? I forget the word now. Whereby you're not able to go to the bathroom for yourself. What's the word for that again? Yeah.
What's the word for what? Not being able to move around?
Yeah.
Immobile?
Immobile?
Yeah.
Most stroke patients.
You're not talking about the telephone, you know, mobile. Be mobile. You must be mobile, but not immobile, right?
That's right. Most patients who really get bad stroke end up in bed. And care of a patient in bed is much harder than if it's a heart attack.
Someone who can get to the,
At least
to
in
the
the
bathroom,
bathroom.
at least, you know?
Yeah.
Might have a shower on your own, right?
Yeah. I mean, supervised, of course.
Of course, yeah.
But when somebody's in a bed, then you have to get help. So I thought at least with a heart attack, I had preferred you got a heart attack than I got a stroke, because you were able to at least get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course, I understand that, yeah.
And then to the patient who is in bed and everything has to be done, it's kind of a little humiliating for the patient.
Well, I guess in all fairness to the patient, once he comes to, or she comes to term with the fact that, listen, there's nothing I can do about my situation. I am dependent on this situation. I am totally dependent in this situation on people helping.
Yeah.
I have to put aside my great sense of dignity and allow myself to be cleaned off. You know, if I'm in Pampers, I have to allow myself to be changed. I have to have a new mindset, because things could have been very worse. I could have been already, you know, on 6 feet under.
Yeah, but for some people that's a real challenge, right?
Well, sickness, they say, is humiliating, but I feel that if we develop a total abandonment of this self, you'll have to just, and we have had experience where we have taken care of someone, and that someone was really
Cooperative.
very cooperative. That someone was able to say, okay, I'm in your hands, and the job became easier and recovery was superb. So we have to understand that if this is my situation, I'm in Pampers now, and there's nothing I can do about it, I have to give in to that. I have to give in to that. Otherwise, I'll make my caregiver really upset. I will become foolishly morose. Maybe not foolishly morose, but I will definitely become morose, right?
I listen to you know, but you know how it is going. You have to be concentrating here.
Oh gosh, Louis, I know how you know.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
So don't mind that I'm not interacting too much.
If you weren't my wife, I would pay you for this job.
You can't pay for this job, boy.
I can't pay for that job?
No.
Why?
You can't pay for this job. This job is done with love and appreciation.
Well, that's what I'm paying you with.
No. Okay. Well, you do that well.
Yes. So where were we now? Now, stress is something that brings on, could bring on a stroke, it could bring on a heart attack. And for men 45 and older, that age group is susceptible to heart attacks. For women, it's 55 and older.
Yeah.
Right? 55 and older. So when you see young couples married and they're moving on and they have good health, the advice would be to maintain that health. You know, as you grow older and responsibilities are there, you might be looking for a house, you have a job situation on your hand, you may be an occasional worker or whatever, employee. These are things that bring about stress. How is stress defined? Stress is said to be how we react when we feel under pressure or threatened. When we feel under pressure, whether it be the neighborhood, your job place, your studies, there's some jobs that are really high level stress. Yeah, recently we came back from from America, from Grand Cayman, and I've been looking at the crew on the plane, and that's a really high stress level job. You're walking up the aisle, you're pushing this thing there with your little refreshments. Somebody buzzes you and you have to go and get it there. You're flying high, 38,000 feet high. And you're hoping that, your next stop will be a safe one down on the ground. And I was talking to a steward from Grand Cayman. And he had been in the job for 12 years. And I asked him, and he seemed to be up in age. And I said to him, you like this job? Yes, I do. Are you not worried about flying every day? No. I guess you just have to put it out of your mind.
Well, it's become a way of life.
A way of life, yeah.
You can't fight it. It's your job.
This here, I was kind of curious because I see you cutting this here. But this seems to have been a change of a tablet.
The same statin. But this is rosuvastatin.
Calcium.
Before you were on
contains
rosuvastatin.
Rosuvastatin.
But same statin.
Same statin, right? Yes. So stress is something that we need to be aware of.
But sometimes we could bring on our own stress.
What does stress do for somebody? What does it do to somebody, rather? It says it makes you irritable, it makes you angry, makes you impatient. You become overburdened, overwhelmed, anxious, nervous, afraid. And there are racing thoughts that can't be switched off. So you're overthinking a situation. You're overburdened, you're overwhelmed.
Well, I believe, and especially if you don't have any solution to the stress.
That's the problem too.
So, we as a couple, we really need to reduce stress from each other. Because I always say that couples now, I think life is more stressful for couples now. The working life has become harder, more demand on you.
Even the financial situations, Louise?
Financial situation, cost of living. There are some stress that we cannot get rid of. Right? There's some stress we cannot get rid of.
They say even you could lose your humor, There's no enjoyment in what you're doing and what is happening around you. So how does one really recover from stress? That is from your opinion. And I know we're not the medical doctors, we're not psychologists, but what has worked for you in the past? If you had a little session of stress, I don't want you to identify any area of stress. I want you to identify for me what worked for you.
Well, if there is a stressful situation, well, I would say to personalize it. Not that I don't want to, but I think a most stressful period in my life was when you got sick.
I got sick?
Yeah.
Right.
Because life had not been stressful. We faced our responsibilities, we shared our responsibilities, and we never made an issue out of things that could just be a small little something that could blow over.
Right.
Many times couples blow a situation out of context. Which is to say, if I put this handbag here and you feel it shouldn't be there, you make that a problem. It doesn't matter where the handbag is or not.
As long as the money remains safe in it.
That's right. And and there are things that people are different. You came from different walks of life. Some couples, a major problem with couples are one partner very particular and neat and everything has to be in its place, and the other one vice doesn't matter. Well, that's why I say you can't really change anybody.
No.
So you just have to learn over a period of time. Well, that's how we operate. If he's squeeze the toothpaste from on top and don't squeeze it from the bottom and the toothpaste is twist up anyhow, how many times you will quarrel about that?
Exactly.
Or how many times would you stress yourself about that? When you see it, you just fix the toothpaste and squeeze it and bring it back in a shape that it will look stupid like somebody's idea in the house.
That's all. Oh, Jesus.
No, there are real things. There are little things that we never know how we are affected until we get married, and we know you have to live with it for the rest of your life. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. So there are some things. I think I always say you don't catch every ball that is thrown at you. You just dismiss it. You know. I mean, I am not condoning that some men are very untidy and they drop their clothes, the basket right there for the clothes, and they drop the clothes on the outside. And a wife had to do that, go and pick up every time you go the clothes outside of the basket.
But then the woman too, eh?
Yeah, vice versa.
The woman too.
You want to.
The woman too.
Right? So things like that, you really, that everyday living, you have to deal with that.
Yep.
So it's as to not to make it a stress, you come to the conclusion, listen, you talk about it, and you say, okay, right, I understand. But try and see if you could do a little better. Right?
Yep.
So that's a stress. For some people, that's a big stress.
Yeah.
That's a big stress. Well, I didn't have that as a stress. Because for one, we always had somebody to help us.
Lucky
And
for you.
two, you were a very neat man. And if it's anything, you might have had to deal with me instead.
You want me to confess at this point? I'd rather not. But look, hear this now. Thinking back about this, your birthday is on the 26th and again on the 29th.
Yeah.
So she got two birthdays because the British who were here at the time when you were born, 1951, they things were pretty slow, and so rather than record her as the 26th, they recorded on the day she came into the day that they took the papers to the warden office, and they listed it as the 29th, right?
Yeah.
Good. So when I missed the first one, I get to the second, and if I don't remember the second, I say, well, the 26th passed anyway. Right, so that takes care of that. But you know, thinking about a heart attack, and I remember when Lyndon put out that.
So, okay, not cutting you across, but just not to forget the point that you asked. How do I deal with stress?
Right. Okay.
So there were a lot of things that was not a stress for me, right? And therefore, we could have made a very happy 52 years of marriage. Well, 48 at the time. But it was stressful when he got ill. I mean, I used to laugh at myself. Some of the craziest things happened to me. Some of the craziest things happened to me. When Lance came out of the hospital and was at home, and I was faced to have to do a lot of things that he did.
Like what, boy?
Like, for instance, I had never locked up a house in my life.
Oh boy.
52 years I'm married. I never, or very rare occasion, I would go out and come home to a house that I had to open. So see how spoiled I was. Lance was one who, since we didn't have domestic help, Lance always swept and mopped and cleaned the bathroom. So see how spoiled I was.
Boy, oh boy, no one ever had a attack.
So, when having had to do all of these things, it was very stressful. Coupled with ensuring he took his medication, having to coax him sometimes, had to quarrel with him sometimes, right? So it was a very stressful period. And so I would say that in the last 4 years, life had been stressful in that it was COVID. We couldn't travel. The first year of his heart attack, the doctor said, no traveling for Lancelot. So mentally, I settled that in my heart and my mind. Okay, Lou, no travel for this year. But come next year, please go. Come 2020, we will be on a plane doing something, going somewhere that we could enjoy life. But COVID came in 2020, and 2021, and 2022. And Lancey doing better with his heart, but then he started having back problems.
So that's another stressful area.
So that's another stressful area because, you know, he would want to sweep, and once he sweep, he will get the pain. Once he cut the lawn grass, he would get pain. And, you know, you have to adjust to, oh gosh, Nancy, better you don't worry to cut the lawn, you know, let's pay somebody else. And no, I'm well enough to do that. And things like that. So it's different issues that are brand new to you. Over the years in marriage, after you come to terms with one thing and settle one thing, you move on and something new will come up and you have the solution. But I would say when you grow older, you could have some stress that you really can't put aside.
Can't put aside.
If you understand what I mean.
Yes.
There's some stress that you could do without.
Well, there's some stress you can't.
It's your daily life. It's your daily life, and that is why
you can't avoid.
That is why it is said that do not add to your plate. Don't add additional stress to your plate because your plate will overflow. So that something that really don't need to be a stress in your life, throw it off your plate.
Especially when you're retired and you're looking forward to good days. But let me just interrupt a little bit, and thanks for that. Towards the end of this video, I hope to introduce that little video that Lyndon did when he came to Medical Associates the day I was coming out, which would have been the 29th.
Yes.
The 29th of August, right? He came there, and it was an anxiety not only for Lyndon, but for Lisa, Liba, Asana also. They were going through a stress, and Asana was, you know, affected by my situation. And Lisa also expressed that she was there for us. The video would show me driving off in her car and arriving at her home. And I think it will be a fitting end to this whole episode of my heart attack and my recovery. So Louise, again, I want to thank you for the patience you have taken in doing all of these things, putting all of these things together.
Take care.
Right, they're all closed, right? She's really been there for me. I really thank her. And all the neighbors who were concerned, people who came home and people who expressed, their concern for my situation. And they still are very friendly to us, and we're glad. We're really thankful. Maybe at this point also, I would like to do a little shout out, really, Louise. Let me see if I can get everything together. Let's see if we can get a couple names to shout out. Azisha Bola, Wild Honey, Joyce Jasmat, Wendy Hiralal, Kathleen Regis, Nusia Mike, Sharon M, Susie, Rose, Faz. Thank you,
yes,
Faz.
Yes, of course, Faz. Remember meeting you and your very nice Birani's rice.
Ram Narayan, Eric Bash, Stephanie Lopez. We are related, Stephanie Lopez. We go back to, I guess, Tamana days. Ann Lambert. I'm just pulling these names out of a video we did by the riverside, because it will be impossible for Louise or I to really get this thing, under control. Anish Naris, of course, Judy T, Maritza Dos Santos. Thank you very much for your help.
Marissa Shim.
That's right.
And her parents, her mom.
Arcital, yes.
Who celebrated their 40th anniversary.
Yesterday. Been Sunday.
Congratulations.
The 20th, yes.
Wishing you all many more. What is Marissa's mom name?
Erica.
Erica. Hope you all had a wonderful 40th anniversary. I'm wishing you all many more. Like also hail out to Wilma White.
Oh yes.
Also
Wilma.
Corinne, girl, I have to call you. My face is looking beautiful. I have to take a picture to send for you.
I didn't laugh because it wasn't so. I was just amused to think that To think.
To think what?
Nandi Lewis, R. Blake, Rajesh Ramnath. Oh yes. Nadia Mangal. Well, I'll let this do for the hour. But I want to thank all those who have been, right there with us. And as I said, I hope that this little video here would end with Lyndon's contribution to the day I came out. So Louise, once again, thank you very much and all the best.
And you see, the job's still ain't finished yet, eh?
The job is still on.
Job's still on.
Okay, my friends, thank you. Louis?
Bye-bye. All the best. Sorry that I could not have been much help, but when I'm attending to this medication, it takes my complete concentration.
Very good.
Few days have been tough, but today's a good day. Hello. Hi. Is Lance with you in this room, sir? Yeah. Hey, very good. You alright? Hey, sir, you take so long. You ready to go? I feel like I'm wedding boy. I feel like I'm kind of slow,